Ladies and gentlemen, we still here at the Bass Fest, interviewing none other than one of the featured bassists, Mr. Jauqo 3X. How you doing, bro?
Hey, I'm fine, Ivan, and glad to be here, man. Had a blast, having a blast. And, hey, much love to Detroit, seriously.
Okay, and what's been going on so far here at the Detroit Bass Fest?
Man, it's been bass overload. John Liebman from BassPlayersOnly.com was here. Ralph Armstrong, the legendary Ralph Armstrong, the legendary Nate Watts, Funky Doug Johns, Killer Bill Clements. It's been a blast, and all the cats, like I always say, it's a lot of love here in Detroit, and it's funky, it's good, it's really good. Me and my trio, we did our thing. We had a blast. The cats loved it. I felt we did our thing, and we represent for Chicago, which is, you know, right next door to you guys.
Dig. Well, let's just for starters, let's just take a little look at some of the stuff you did here at Detroit Bass Fest.
Please welcome Jauqo 3X.
You know what? We're gonna kick off some whatever in a minute, but I gotta give some love back to Detroit because I got a lot of love. Detroit has always given me love, seriously. Even when they hate me, they give me love. It's some cats here, the history of Detroit. In my formative years, when I thought I wanted to be a bass player, cats like Jamerson, Michael Henderson, Nate Watts, Tony Newton, Ralph Armstrong. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. Those cats were powerful to me when I would hear these cats. And at the time, we were too young to know who they were, so we had to really dig. You know, we didn't have the information like you guys got today. And y'all take that for granted. Y'all a bunch of punks when it comes to that. At the same time, y'all got what y'all got. Do something with it. Seriously, do something with it. What we're gonna do a tidbit of something, just to get a balance of a sound check of sorts. And then we're gonna go off to whatever we're gonna go off into. And in the course of this thing we're doing, if you have some questions for me or whatever, just let me know. So right now, we're not here to do a song, but we just wanna test the sound. Y'all cool with that?
Do your thing.
All right, and this is Alex A.V. Varner on drums. This is a Detroit homeboy, born and raised. And we got Eric, Baby E. Voigt on guitar. Yeah, 16 years old. Give it up for 16 years old. Not enough to explain 14 and a half. We're going to do a composition called Understanding of Self.
If you want to, you go that way, to the left, and around.
You got any questions?
You.
If not, we're gonna do it.
It's in the bar.
Yo, you got one question, Jauqo.
60 years old. Really? Yeah, 50 now.
Are you primarily going to play 4, and do you ever mess with the 5 at all?
No, I play 4, 5, 6, fretless, 15 string. But my thing is, I love the 4 string.
Right, I do too.
But it goes back to it's like a tool and a tool belt. Like there's some projects where I'll only play fretless, and there's some projects where I only play 5 string, and there's some things where I only play 4 strings. So you know, whatever's going on in that brain, and whatever the person like the producer or someone, whatever they ask of me. I'm not the cat who comes in and try to take over someone's job because they're not gonna pay me to produce. You know, they say you can play bass.
Learn on 4, right?
You should do it like this. You should, no, that's not my no. You gotta pay me for that. No, seriously.
You learned on 4, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. When I was 4 string was it, man.
So you're always gonna have your heart's gonna always be 4.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just like I said, I'm 50 years old, so when I started playing, 4 was the main bass. You know, everywhere you went, it was 4 string, 4 string. You know, fives here and there, but for the most part, it was 4 string. Then it goes back to how our brains work as musicians. Like the whole thing when Ryan was talking about the C sharp thing, all that came about. As a matter of fact, that's one of the bases right there. That it's C sharp to F. I'm sorry, C sharp to E. So the E string on that bass is where the G string is on the standard 4. And the reason I did that, I wanted the bass to be under bass. So at the time, nobody see the whole concept behind that bass. It's just not a bass. It's tuned to that. I work with the Bartolini's on the electronics, the right luthiers for what I felt would be the best woods. See, none of the luthiers that made the subcontract basses for me, none of them had anything to do with the choices of woods. They let me do everything I wanted to do, and that's not ego tripping. It's like I knew what I wanted, what I felt would give me the best resonation with the low frequency. So then, to make a long story short, I went to Dean Markley. The C sharp string was in my head as an idea that turns into a concept. So at the time, the C sharp string did not exist. There was no C sharp string nowhere. And I went to Dean Markley and I said, "Hey man, would you guys make this string for me?" And they were like, "What now?" You know. And I said, "C sharp string," and they were like, "Oh man." And so I came out here to the Dean Markley factories here in Michigan. So we flew out here and we spent like on and off for days or whatever. He was making these strings and he made some for me, and it was working good enough for me because when you have an idea, you can turn an idea into an actual piece of, reality. Right. You can kind of run with that, and, make notes and things like that. But the problem with that was, this was years ago. No one was even thinking about a tuning like that. So Dean Markley gracefully said, "Hey, Jauqo, we can't keep making this string," because nobody was buying it. In all honesty, it wasn't about who would buy the string. Remember, as an artist, as an individual, it's what we're trying to convey. Right. So it was never about, let's make some money off of this instrument or this string. It was never about that. And I remember, I'm not ashamed that I was in the penitentiary. And while I was in prison, I had my bass with me. I was working on some of the concepts that I utilize today while in prison. So I remember when I came home, a few months after I got out, I called. You guys ever heard of a bass player named Billy Dickens?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I called Billy up and I said, "Hey Billy, I got this bass, blah blah blah." He was like, "Yeah, what about it?" Cause me and Billy are good friends. So I said, I gave him a tuning. So to show you how the things work, I said it's tune E, B, F sharp. So he started laughing. He said, I got a bass with F sharp. But while I was in prison, I was working on this concept because I was away from you guys. I was away from society. So you don't know kind of what's going on out here. And so Billy started laughing. So I was like, well, yeah, whatever. And he said, so I said, well, I also got a C sharp string on. He said, what? It just blew his mind. So I said, listen to this. So I was coming out of a 210 Ashdown 210 combo. man, I'm old. I've been with these guys forever. And it blew his mind because it was coming over the phone. You can hear that. He was like, man, I don't believe this. So nobody, I'm being honest with you guys, people were laughing at me because everybody was stuck on a standard 4 or 5 with a low B string on it. So they were like, yeah, you know, Jauqo, that stuff ain't gonna work, blah, blah, blah. But now, many years later, it's caught on to a degree. But again, with all due respect, it's not about it catching on. That was an individual that has something in his head, in his heart, and his soul that said, I want to do this. And that's the problem with a lot of musicians. They want to be about clones. Right. Whatever works for somebody else, they have no heart, no courage to be themselves. Right. They say, oh man, Marcus Miller sounds great. I love Mark, his tone is awesome. But they spend all of their time trying to become Marcus Miller.
That's right.
They will never ever be Marcus Miller. And this is no slam on Marcus at all. You guys understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
With me, it was Stanley Clark.
oh no, whoever it may be. You know, I just never got into that thing. My thing was always individuality, be yourself. And that brought me to, you guys ever heard Ornette Coleman? Well, that brought me to Ornette. You know, I would talk to Ornette, I would call him up, blah, blah, blah. And so Ornette says to me, you know, he said, if I send you a ticket, would you come up here and play for me? Well, personally, Ornette was to me what Charlie Parker was to Miles Davis. No, seriously, Ornette was the one that, of all the musicians that was on it, that was the only cat I felt, you know, I had a kinship with. So Ornette was like, well, I'm gonna send you this ticket. And I was like, I dropped the phone. I was before a cell phone. I dropped the receiver. I'm like, oh man, I picked it up. So I'm telling my friends, I'm like, oh man, we could go to New York. Man, we go play with Ornette. Blah blah blah. You know, Ornette wasn't nothing to them. You know, he was. If I would have said Splash Stone, they would be like, wow, Splash. But they were like, that crazy dude play sax. But what I got when I got there was you can't even put in words. Because the things that he showed me, the things that he instilled in me, because remember guys, be yourself. It always goes back to individuality.
Right.
Always. When we are born, there's not a musician in this room who first picked up an instrument and just was like, they forget who they are. When they hit their first note, they don't hear something that they recognize. Then they start seeking out something that they're familiar with, when at the same time, subconsciously, they're abandoning themselves. So then they get off to like, they're digging Stanley Clark to the point where everything they do sounds like Stanley Clark, or whoever their hero may be. I do have heroes. I'm being totally honest. A lot of the cast in Detroit, I mean, I'm from Chicago. It's gritty, the funk, the grooves, the R&B, the soul. So it would be ignorant of me not to embrace the cast in Detroit. Again, Jamerson, I don't know if Ralph Armstrong is here, but I did a CD a few years ago called Low C Sharp Theory.
Yeah, over there.
Hey, wherever you at, man, I got a lot of love for you. I did a CD a few years ago. I did a CD a few years ago called a Low C Sharp Theory. And it's about action. In the liner notes and the thank yous, I had a million thank yous. I had Ralph in there, seriously. I had Nate Watts in there. I had all the cats that I got some, Lamont Johnson. Seriously, I had Lamont Johnson's first album, solo album. And he was playing a fretless. You know, everyone talks about Pistorius. All due respect to Pistorius, cats need to do their homework. They need to understand the roots of the reality of things. He was playing a fretless, Ralph was playing a fretless. There was a lot of cats playing fretless, but it always goes back to who becomes a rock star first. And then everybody forgets where things come from. So it goes back to like Lamont Johnson with the, when he was with Brainstorm and solo stuff. He was killing on a fretless P-Bass, you know, on a fretless P-Bass. So I got a lot of love and respect for those cats. If I never meet them, it's all good because it's what we take from them. And what I took from Ralph, it was a Jean-Luc Ponty album. And I think Ivan has a copy of my album, The Low C Sharp Theory, and I was talking about how Ralph's bass lines were so strong. I mean, he was actually driving the pocket. I don't care what nobody say, he was a Maserati not overdoing it. Seriously, and I'm being honest with you. I used to be like,
well, they told me I was a Volkswagen with one cylinder.
but I was a little dude on the south side of Chicago. Me and my
Detroit, you gotta hold down the foundation.
And that's what Ralph, seriously, that's what Ralph was doing. And when I first heard Ralph playing, and it's cool that you're here because we are not giving our accolades while we're living. It's all when we did, we get a bunch of phone. No, he was a great guy. A lot of that stuff is a bunch of BS. You know, because tell it to us while we're living. And again, I really appreciate Ralph being here. And I used to listen to the albums with him on it. And I'm not going to exaggerate, Ralph. I've never been influenced to play a particular brand of a bass by what the bass player was playing. But I almost slipped. I damn near got a gift. I'm not gonna lie. I came that close. You know what knocked you out? You know what knocked me out from getting the Gibson? There was a guitar player, John Primer, used to play with Muddy Waters. He saw me, because I grew up in a neighborhood that was full of blues. No, it was a guitar player. He see me and he says, hey, you play bass, don't you? Yeah. Come by my house tomorrow. I got something for you. I want to show you. I go by his house. He had 3 brand new Fender Jazzes. And he said, pick one out. And so I picked out this all chocolate brown, blah, blah, blah. But it was killer. I still got that bass. It don't look the same. But he said, give me $200 and it's yours. So I said, all right, I'll be back tomorrow. But I'm not exaggerating. What he was doing, the Gibson bass was sounding like a bass. And then he was playing fretless. And the other thing, I'm not a big effects user, but I do use effects. Ralph. At the time, it was cats using the pedals, but Ralph was the one, even to this day, I tell everyone when I do clinics, Ralph was the cat for me who was the most tasteful with pedals. I'm seriously, his pedal usage was a composition within itself. He wasn't on this,
I got to dress up, you don't woke me up. Do you remember the pedal that I was using?
I think you had one time, did you have a Maestro? Yeah. No, see, I don't see, the thing is, everyone who knows me, I'm a firm believer, it's all about action. Now, seriously, Ralph is one of the cats, man, seriously. Y'all know this.
There was a pedal. I gotta just say one thing, man. You know what? You're gonna make me cry.
Oh, no, it's all good.
Because this is so beautiful, and it is touching my heart to hear you say these wonderful things. But there was a pedal called a Maestro bass. Brass Master. I endorsed that product, and I got on the conversation on Detroit bass players, and it just blows me away how, I'm not trying to criticize and make anyone feel bad, how stupid musicians can be today. And like what this man is telling you, you have to research your instrument, do some homework with it, come up with your creativity. I came from James Jamerson. I'm gonna tell you a true story. If it wasn't for James Jamerson, me and Jauqo Pistorius would have never played the fretless bass. Because he came to me one night and he was at the Mozambique. Little fat boy, hey, tell you about the bass. I play the fretless bass. I said, what the hell is he talking about? So I looked in the catalog and it was a fretless Fender bass, and I got the bass, and I went and auditioned with John McLaughlin. Next thing I know, I'm playing because I had a fretless bass. But in a nutshell, this Maestro bass Brassmaster. It went on eBay for $1,900. That pedal ain't worth 25 cents. You got to be smoking crack, snorting crack, running heroin to buy that. When it stayed, there's a guy, he's an aristocrat now. He used to be the pedal guy with us, with my Vishnu. That thing broke down every concert. And the doggone switch would go internally into the pods. It was junk. Go out and buy a damn Digitech today. Move in the 21st century. That's what I'm saying. You know, and these guys are telling me, oh, this is vintage. And what's so killing about it, this is what's the killing thing about it. It was supposed to make your bass sound like a trombone. It never did it. So what I did, I turned the voice sensitivity up, and this, woo, that was Ralph Hendricks.
Oh, thanks, Ralph.
you know, like I ask everybody else, when did you start playing the bass and why?
I was 16 years old when I started playing, like officially started playing, but I had been listening to bass pretty much all my life because it's the culture, you know, R&B, funk, soul, blues, and it was something about that instrument that at the time I didn't know it was called a bass guitar. It was just like, what is that? It wasn't so much because of the low frequency. For me, it was more so the pulse, you know, the like, wow, the pulse of that. And it goes back to just always hearing that and feeling it, not knowing what it was. So you start, like I said, when I was 16 years old, I started getting off into, who is this player? I want to get serious with this instrument. And then you start, James Jamerson.
Another Detroit bass.
Yes, my mother was hardcore into Motown. So I heard pretty much every Motown record out there, but it was always going back to Jamerson, which in turn turned me on to Tony Newton, which in turn turned me on to Bob Babbitt.
All Detroits.
Yes, and then I got off into Lamont Johnson,
Another Detroit.
Ralph Armstrong,
Another Detroit.
Michael Henderson.
Another Detroit.
And I'm being totally honest, those cats were like just powerful. They were doing their thing. And like I said, living in Chicago, and pretty much all the urban cities, Philadelphia, all the killer bass players and the music that was coming out of there, Chicago, Detroit, all throughout Ohio. So I was getting it from every direction. The Midwest is funky. And what I mean by funky, I don't necessarily mean funk as in the genre funky, just feeling it. It could be R&B, it's got that grit. It could be smooth R&B, but that bass is moving. It's moving, it's percolating, it's doing what a bass is supposed to do. Move you know, seriously.
Dig. Well, those were some of the influences around Detroit and everything. Any others grab your fancy as a bass player?
Oh,
I know you grab a lot of our fancies.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody else grab yours?
Oh yeah, Chuck Rainey, Bernard Edwards, Doug Wimbish, and Jamaluddin Takuma. Those were the main cats that were pivotal to within my formative years as a bass player. So, it's, like I say, Chuck Rainey, the stuff that Bernard Edwards was doing, his playing, his feel, he had this staccato effect when he wanted it, but he wasn't playing with a pick. Doug Wimbish, I remember seeing Doug when I first started playing bass. He came to the Chicago Amphitheater. He was playing with Sugar Hill Gang. They were opening up for Parliament Funkadelic. I didn't know who Doug Wimbish was at the time, but he walked out on stage by himself and just broke it off. A lot of what Doug was doing then has become the norm today in regards to bass technique. And then Jamaluddin Takuma, a Philly bass player, doing his thing. Funky, gritty, jazz, you name it. But he had a different spin on all of that. And those cats did it for me. And everybody else, the names that I didn't mention, they're in there. Because no matter who you are, who we are, we're gonna listen to who we're listening to. But to answer your question, those were the guys in relation to what I was getting from the Detroit cats. Seriously, yeah.
Now, when I was watching your show here at the Detroit Bass Fest, you mentioned about being your own individual and not copying off of anybody. And evidently you took that literally because you created what's called the low C sharp string, man.
Oh, yeah.
Why? For those who don't know, he got a bass. His highest string is E, then his next string is B, like boy, and then the next lower one is F sharp, and then even lower than that is a C sharp.
Yeah.
Why in the world would you think outside the box and go there, man? Why go there?
Well, the basics behind that bass, which I call the sub-contra bass, and the reason I call it sub-contra bass is because it goes below that 5-string bass, which we know and refer to as the contra bass.
Right.
So the L sharp string and the C sharp string is going lower than that, so I call the bass the sub-contra. Now the C sharp string, I wanted bass under bass, because it's something about the trenches of bass. If you with the right drummer and you're grooving, that's a whole nother level of spirituality within the context of music and how it comes through your psyche, how you touch the listener and how you touch yourself. And the whole concept behind the bass was the wood choices for the body, the neck wood choices, the fingerboard wood choices, the proper electronics, the proper preamp, all of that plays a vital part in that instrument, the subcontrabass. And originally, the first company that ever made the C-sharp string ever in existence. See, the string, this is not ego, this is just a fact. The C-sharp string, the low C-sharp string for bass guitar did not exist until I had something in my brain telling me I wanted it. The first company to make it was Dean Markley. It was two guys at Dean Markley, Jeff Lantroop and David Brummett. David Brummett is one of the co-owners of Circle K bass guitar strings today. David Brummett worked with me on the concept, not so much the concept, I'm sorry, but the design in turning the actual thought idea of a low C-sharp string into an actual string. And I gotta give David Brummett his props. I have to give Jeff Lantroop his props, and I have to give the string company Dean Markley. But because the low C-sharp string was such an oddity, they really weren't set up to make a lot of those strings. And then they weren't trying to market it anyway. And so they came to me one day and said, Jauqo, we can't make the string. I was cool with that. I fully understood. I'm still cool with the cats at Dean Markley. Much love to them. But the string company that makes the string for me now is SIT, a Midwest company out of Ohio. They make the low C-sharp string for me. It's a whole set. It's a signature series. Again, low C-sharp, F-sharp, B, and E. And
From low to high.
from low to high, exactly.
Okay, now what gauge, because I know some bass players ask right now, what gauge is that C-sharp string?
My C-sharp string is 198.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a fat boy.
Right.
That's a telephone cable.
Yeah, but it works for what it works for what I was trying to get across. I did a CD a few years ago called The Low C-Sharp Theory, and I did that CD purposely to show what that bass can do in actual band context. On that CD, The Low C-Sharp Theory, is two guitar players and a drummer. We playing. The recording is 110% improvised, but I wanted to show what that instrument does in a band context. And the funny thing about it, the bass that I used was a fretless subcontrabass.
Wow.
And I'm proud of that album. I remember one time Doug Wimbish asked me, he said, Jauqo, what do you think of the CD? I said, man, I love it. And Doug was like, hey, that's all that matters. And he's right. It works. It's funky. It's some tripped out fusion, and I'm proud of that recording. Yeah.
Well, I don't even buy CDs that much. I'm fortunate enough that people give me CDs, but I actually purchased that CD back in 2000, whatever it was.
Right.
Simply because I wanted to hear what this low C-sharp sound like. And you are absolutely correct. It's 110% improvised because you had two guitar players on there, and neither one of them knew what each other were playing.
No, what I did during that recording, the two guitar players were placed in separate recording booths. They could not hear each other.
Right.
But each guitar player could hear me and the drummer. So
But they couldn't hear each other.
they could not hear each other.
Right.
But if you listen to the recording, you can't tell. It sounded like both guitar players could hear each other.
Living off the groove of the bass and the
Exactly.
drum. But you know what, folks? Y'all need to go check that out. I'm sure it's still, you can still buy
The
it.
CD is still available. It's called Jauqo 3X, The Low C-Sharp Theory. You can get it from Amazon, cdbaby.com, and some other CD music outlets.
Right, and any album since then?
Well, I did record another solo album with Bernard Purdy, drummer Bernard Purdy, the guitar player Kuzai Kazambira, who is one of the guitar players from the Low C-Sharp Theory. And I used the fretless subcontrabass on that recording as well, but I haven't released that CD yet. It's finished, it's mixed, mastered, ready to go, but I just haven't released it. It's a little different from the Low C-Sharp Theory in where it's a little more funk soul orientated with a little in-your-face guitar playing. But me and Bernard, doing what bass players and drummers do, we're in the pocket, holding it together. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and like I said, the way I found out about that low C sharp theory was I saw it in Bass Player magazine as a must. It's something that you should buy and
Right.
listen to. Now, besides eventually releasing that CD, what else you got coming up, man?
Well, I have a band you heard tonight called the Jauqo 3X Reality. That band is what I refer to the music is avant funk fusion. But there's a vocalist with that band. She was not here tonight. She didn't perform with us. I just came as a trio, bass, guitar, and drums. But there's a vocalist that performs with us. The same music you heard tonight, there are lyrics with those songs. We just did it a little more fusiony tonight. But it's the same songs with the lyrics with it. But she didn't come tonight, which was cool, you know. But that again, that's the Jauqo 3X Reality. I call that with the vocalist. I call it avant funk soul.
Okay. Well, now on behalf of Detroit bass players, I didn't want to keep you, bro. You know, there's still some more stuff happening. Nate Watts is about to do his thing. Is there anything you like to say in closing before I let you go?
Right now, it's like if you're out there and you're serious about bass, today, it's not like when I first started. Getting information was a little harder and very limited. Today, if there's a bass player out there that you're not familiar with and you know that bass player's name, research them. Do a Google search. If they got a website, go to their website. But at the end of the day, learn everything that you can about that instrument that you're interested in, whether it's bass, guitar, drums. And don't forget, be yourself. Do not be afraid to be yourself.
Well, speaking of that, before you finish, how can we reach you and keep up with you?
Well, I can be reached at Jauqo3x.com. It's JAUQOIII-X.com. You got any questions? You can go to my website. You got any questions? You can email me at JAUQO@yahoo.com.
Okay, and sorry for interrupting your closing, you know. Anything else?
No, that's it. And Ivan, as always, I appreciate the love I get from Detroit. I appreciate the love I get from you. I seriously, sincerely appreciate it because we got to do it, man. We got to share. We got to give back. We got to give something. We cannot contain it all for ourselves. It's too much. We got to give some back. Seriously.
Okay, well, again, on behalf of the Detroit bass players, we thank you for coming out and hanging out and sharing your bass with us. And I'll talk to you next time.
Thank you again, Ivan. Detroit, peace.